Hey, my name is Brundage. I live in Los Angeles and I am a magician/artist. So when I was a little kid, I always loved watching magicians. So I would follow them after the show and ask them to teach me a magic trick. And they would start teaching me the sleight of hand with magic. And then I got really interested when I saw David Blaine on TV. And I was watching David Blaine do these tricks and I was just totally blown away and I had to learn more. When I saw David Blaine on TV doing his magic tricks for people, they were reacting, running away from the tricks. And as a kid, I watched that, I said, that is real magic. I have to learn how to do that. So right after that, I started studying 10, 12 hours a day, just studying sleight of hand and studying lots of magic. When I first started magic, my mom actually bought me to a bookstore and actually bought me a sleight of hand magic book. And from there, I would just read, watch YouTube videos, other magicians performing, and I just started practicing 10 hours a day, trying to learn the sleight of hand with cards. I started off slow, but I kept on doing it. At some points, I would start fooling my family members, where I would fool them with a card trick and they're like, teach me how to do that. And I would say, nope, and I just walked off a little smugly. But for me as a little kid, magic was a way to connect with people, to make friends. Right away, I could meet someone the very first time, and within 10 minutes, we're having fun in a circle just doing magic tricks. So it was a great way to make friends, make connections, and I still use it to this day to do that. I actually first started doing magic as a full-time job when I was about 22, 23, and I actually started in the streets. So basically, I was doing it for my friends and family, and I didn't actually get paid doing magic. So I actually started where I set up a little bucket to collect money, and I had a little sign that said magic show, and I just started to do magic tricks in the street for the first couple years. My mindset was not to be a full-time magician. My mindset was, I love this, it's my passion, and I want to pursue it. And I said to myself, I'm just going to go with the flow with it. I'm going to see where it could lead. And little did I know that was one of the best decisions I ever made. When I started to street perform, I started to get some inquiries. People said, hey, do you want to do this at a corporate show or function or a private party? And from that moment on, I just started to book shows one by one. I booked my first corporate show, started doing some birthday parties, started off slow, but over time it started to build up where little and little, where before you know it, you're on stage in front of 1,000 people performing. So as I started to pursue the magic, people started to doubt that you could do it. You know, I was doing street performings. I told people, hey, I want to be a full-time magician. I want to start doing events, and this is my full-time job. And I had a lot of people doubt me from the beginning. People would come up, a guy that was a lawyer that did magic tricks would say, how are you going to pay your rent? You know, no one could really do that up here when I was in upstate New York. And I didn't realize that it was their limited mindset that they were projecting on me, saying something that you can't do. So anytime you have an idea, something you want to pursue, you will have a lot of naysayers. People will put doubt at you. They'll say you can't do it. Keep in mind that is their limited mindset projecting onto you, usually because they can't achieve what you're speaking about. So if you have your goals in mind, just keep on pursuing it. And if you truly believe you can do it, you can. My dream as a kid was actually never to be a full-time magician. My dream was to follow my passion, do what I truly love doing. And for me, if I can make a good living doing that, I think I will have a complete life filled. The fact that I get to do full-time magic, travel the world, and truly live my dream is really, really amazing. So one of the biggest challenges that I faced recently is COVID-19. For years, I spent a full year trying to book my calendar, book my tour that I had set up. So I had all these showcases that I did. I had dozens of shows lined up. And then in one day, I had dozens of shows and all my income go to zero. Which is kind of terrifying when you still owe rent, you have payments, car payments, cell phone bills, and I was also paying people to work for me. When everything disappeared, I had to stop paying the people that were working for me. I had to completely shut down, and it was kind of scary when you don't know how are you going to feed yourself, how are you going to help the people around you. Luckily, we are working through this pandemic together, and it seems like shows are picking back up. So that's it was terrifying in the moment when you don't know, where are you going to stay? What's your living situation when everything stops? My big break with magic was when I actually got pulled over by cops for speeding just a little bit. So I was driving home from a show. They pulled me over. They asked what I was doing. I said I was coming back from a magic show, and the police said, hey, can you show me a magic trick? So I actually hopped out of the car. I had them start to record on my cell phone, and I did magic tricks for the officer. And then afterwards, they let me go. The next day, I actually posted that video on YouTube. In a couple days, it had over 2 million views. I got started being invited on TV shows, and that was my first time where I had my big break. Magic has taken me around the world dozens of times. I've done magic in multiple countries from China, Saudi Arabia, parts of Europe. I've also got to travel to almost every single state doing magic. I could be in a massive arena. I could be doing NBA halftime show, a college show, corporate event, also private parties for people. Varies where if there's an event, usually I could try to fit my magic into the event. A couple years I did America's Got Talent in 2016, and that was an amazing experience. I was able to go a top 12 semifinalist. From that moment on, I started to tour the world even more and travel and do more magic. So I actually started solving the Rubik's Cube when I was around 12 years old. For me, I saw my cousin doing it and I had to learn how to do it, so I started just practice solving it. I did actually magic and Rubik's Cube completely separately for years, where I would just simply solve the Rubik's Cube, just do magic separate. At one point I was doing a magic show and someone came over to me, they said, "What are you doing with that Rubik's Cube?" And I was like, "I just solved it." But I solved it in front of them and they were like, "That's really awesome." So for some reason, I just started adding the Rubik's Cube in my show, where I just did more Rubik's Cube stuff. People would come up to me and they've always seen a million card tricks. So when they saw the Rubik's Cube, they were like, "That's really cool, do the cube again." So over time, I started to add more and more Rubik's Cube stuff to my show. And before I knew it, I got labeled the Rubik's Cube Magician, even though I do lots of other sleight of hand. It was never intentional that I wanted to be the Rubik's Cube Magician, but it just ended up like that. So after doing the Rubik's Cube magic and just Rubik's Cube in general for years, I started doing art pieces with the Rubik's Cube, where I would do massive, massive murals of people. And I always did people that I really was inspired by. I never built someone just to build them. For me, they had to be someone important in my life, someone that made a change in the world, someone that I thought should be built. So I've done pieces of Kobe Bryant, Chadwick Boseman. I did Richard, where essentially you build a giant portrait of them. You do different landscapes, different logos and whatnot. I might be doing, I've done stuff for different corporations or sports teams where you could do massive murals. And the really cool part about building these art pieces, I almost use it as a meditation exercise, where when you're building that person, a lot of times I'll put in headphones and I'll be listening to that person's music, or I'll listen to doing a public speech. And what I'll try to do is, as they're speaking, I'll listen to what their message that they're trying to impart in the world. When I'm building these art pieces, I try to focus on that, manifest that towards a wider audience. The beautiful part about following your dreams is every time you set certain goals and you achieve those goals, you always make new goals. So usually your dream is never complete. There's always more work to be done. And it's really beautiful. Whenever you set a goal and you actually accomplish it, and whatever path you're on, when you look back, you see all the different dots and synchronicities line up. But when you're pursuing something like that, you actually don't know where you're headed because it's always evolving and always new. So for me, I love adventuring into the unknown, into the void, having an idea what I want to do, but obviously whatever opportunities God puts in front of me, I usually just pursue the path that's in front of me. With pursuing your dream, I do like the mindset of there actually is nothing to accomplish. As individuals, we all are a greater part of the whole. And usually as a collective, we fulfill the dream together. So your role could be as simply as just, being a parent to someone or treating someone with respect. And you don't have to be the star of the show, the one accomplishing everything. But we all play an important role, even if we don't realize how important our role is. I think how we define success for everyone is different for all of us. For me, success would be achieving the goals that I put in front of me, whether how big or how small. In today's day and age, we have so many mental health issues with so many people where even just getting up and having breakfast and cleaning your room, sometimes that's as far as we need to go to actually have a successful day. And having success is not the big goal, it's little steps every single day. And if you make those little steps correct, as a whole, you're gonna see a change in your character, you're gonna see a change in the way your life is shaped around you. So usually if you focus on the small micro stuff, it will affect the macro. When following your dreams, it is really important to have a support system around you, whether that's your family or friends. The cool thing about Dreamr apps, it's other people all pursuing their dreams, and they all have different talents. Someone could be great at video, someone could be a magician, some could be great at planning events. And the cool part is when you have the collective and you start putting your minds together to create stuff, you could create anything. The beautiful part about sharing your dream in the Dreamr app is when you share your vision for the world, when other people hear that and they have a similar vision, you could achieve that collectively together. It's so cool to watch the Dreamr bus travel around the country where they see people struggling, whether they're homeless, They have almost nothing in life. They can't even afford the rent, or they're having hard obstacles, especially with the pandemic that just happened. To have the moment that person declares, I'm trying to find a home, once you get in touch with the right people, the right mindsets, in one day you could have someone's world change, where they could be homeless on the streets for years and years, and then also they have a full-time job, they're selling art, they have a place to live. And the fact that you could change lives is beautiful. For me, I think the way we're gonna fix this world and fix this country and fix all the problems in the world is individual conversation and also personal responsibility. The more people that take personal responsibility for their lives, as opposed to saying, I want the system to fix it for me, that is really gonna make the change. And each person that steps up and actually cares for their neighbor, cares for the person struggling next to them, that's how we're gonna build it up all together. So if you ever wanna get started pursuing magic or your dream, I recommend starting small. If you have the idea where you start saying, I wanna be a full-time magician and tour the world and I wanna charge people for my magic, usually if you're just starting out with magic, you're gonna suck when you first begin. With anything new that you do, you're not gonna be good, but that's the beautiful part. When you do something new, you're not gonna be good. And that's part of the journey where, as you develop and evolve as a magician or pursuing your dream, that's where all the learning happens. That's where you do your growing. Then after you start pursuing that and getting good, at some point, set your goals, try to achieve your goals, and make it happen. If you're interested in a magic show or custom artwork, you can email me at Steven@StephenBrundageMagic, or check me out on Instagram at Brundage Magic. I'm Steven Brundage, and you just watched my Behind the Dream.